What's up, gang? YouTube family, it's your boy MTG Vaughn, aka LV, coming at you with a video talking about Commander decks in Magic the Gathering. This series is going to be called Brewing on a Budget because we can do that. There's a lot of Magic cards and there's a lot of things that we can buy with our money without breaking the bank. And that's what we're talking about today. So I'm going to be talking to you about a Commander deck built around my friend here, Inalla, the Archmage Ritualist. She is great. She's 2 in a Grixis. That just means she's blue, black, and red. And she has Eminence, which is an amazing ability. Only 4 commanders have it. I love this. She can just be in the battlefield or in the command zone, and I get to still do what I want. And what is that? What do I want to do? Inalla, Archmage Ritualist. She's a legendary creature, human wizard. Whenever another non-token wizard enters the battlefield under my control, if Inalla is in the command zone or the battlefield, I get to pay 1 colorless, and if I do, I create a token copy of that wizard and it gains haste, and I exile it at the beginning of my end step. I can tap 5 untapped wizards and deal 7 damage to another target player. And we're gonna talk about what do we wanna do with this commander? How do we wanna build synergy? So we're going to get to some of the key cards. We're going to talk about the synergy of the deck. So before we get into the specifics, let's look at some of the cards. Let's talk about cards we want to cast and copy to deal non-combat damage. We have a few creatures that are going to achieve that. Let's talk about Black Waltz. Black Waltz first. He's a 2 in a Rakdos, which is a black-red. He's a legendary creature wizard with flying death touch, and whenever I deal non-creature spell, he deals 2 damage to each opponent. Unfortunately, we cannot copy Black Waltz without having to sacrifice him instantly, him or the token, but it's still great. If we have him out and we're casting spells and we get him out 1 turn and we have other of our 1 drops or our 2 drops and we have mana and we can just spell sling, that's what we want. Let's talk about another that we can actually copy. Coruscation Mage. Now, Coruscation is great synergy for this deck. Why? Because you're gonna get 2 tokens out of it. All you need is 5 mana. 2 to cast it, 1 in a red, and then 2 colorless mana, and then it creates a copy of itself. Because of that, we're going to copy itself with Inalla in the command zone, and so we're going to get total of 3 Coruscation Mages for 1 turn. 1 of them we will have to exile, but that is okay because we want to get those out and start dealing damage, because each one of those Coruscation Mages are going to deal 1 damage to each of our opponents, and that is going to start to add up. Let's talk about another creature that we want to copy to get more of these wizards that deal non-combat damage. Mysidian Elder, 2 in a red. It's going to cost you 4 mana total, 3 colorless and 1 red. It's a great enter the battlefield trigger. He creates a 0/1 wizard, which is one of these new wizards from the Final Fantasy set. They are great. When you cast non-creature spells, you're going to be doing non-combat damage to each one of your opponents, and that is what we want. In Coruscation Mage, we're going to get 2 of those because when we copy him, that's going to be 2 Mysidian Elders coming into the battlefield. We're going to get 2 of those wizards out of that. Next, let's talk about our friend Kuja. Kuja is great, and if you play MTG Arena, if you've been playing Final Fantasy, you've seen Kuja, and I know you guys seen this guy running decks, and I had to include him in this deck, not only for the synergy, but for what he does. Now, he's one of those creatures just like Black Waltz where he is legendary, so you could run him as commander, and I won't copy him, but that is okay because at the beginning of your end step, Kuja creates one of those wizards that we just talked about that deals non-combat damage when you cast a non-creature spell. That is great. While we don't copy Kuja, having him at your end step, and then flipping Kuja over, what does Kuja do when he flips? If a wizard you control, which is all of our creatures, deals damage to a permanent or a player, it deals double that damage instead. So just imagine a world where we have all these wizards and they just boom, 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 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. Oops, everybody's dead. That's what we want. We're doubling damage with Kuja when he's flipped, and that is great. Let's talk about some of our non-creature cards that get us some more of those wizards that deal non-combat damage. Circle the Power, another great Final Fantasy card. 3 in the black, you draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life, but you create a 0/1 wizard that does that non non-combat damage when we cast non-creature spells. That's what we want. Cornered by Black Mages, a great card. Not only is an opponent having to sacrifice a creature, you're gonna get a wizard as well after they sacrifice that creature. So it is great. So we're getting wizards. We have a lot of wizards here that we're copying to get other wizards that are going to come in and be doing a lot of non-combat damage. Rockslide Sorcerer, another great cheap card where you can copy him. He comes in and at least for one turn, because you have to exile at your end step, you can start casting spells and spell slinging and dealing 1 damage to any target that you want. So that can be creature or person. Tor Wauki the Younger is great. While he's one of the only 2 creatures I have in this deck that aren't wizards, he is great because he's doing that non-combat damage. So he's 3 in the Rakdos, reach with lifelink, and whenever a source I control deals non-combat damage to a permanent or a player, so permanent or player, so either they're creatures or them, it deals that much damage +1 instead. So if you're dealing 1 damage with, let's say, one of the wizards that we got from our spells, it's 2 damage now. Let's say you're doing 2 damage with Gutter Slipe, it's 3 damage now. And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Tor Wauki the Younger himself does 2 damage to any target. So guess what? It's going to be 3 damage instead because he triggers himself, and then you're gaining life as well. So it's important to have these cards that maybe aren't totally synergized with them, right? Like Tor is not a wizard, but that is okay because the synergy and the aim of this deck is to deal non-combat damage, and he does it so well in a self-engine way. He's adding extra damage when you do it, and he's dealing damage himself. It is great. So you guys are starting to see the synergy of the deck. You got Gutter Snipe. I know people love him. 2 in the red. Instant or sorcery, he deals 2 damage to each opponent. So you guys are seeing the synergy. There's more than enough cards in this deck for you to get creatures out, copy them, and they all deal in non-combat damage to your opponents, which is extremely annoying to deal with. But you might ask yourself, how do we get to the point of spell slinging? Like, aren't spells, instants, and sorceries a lot of mana? You're spending a lot of mana to cast your creatures? How are you getting so many spells out when you're copying and doing all these things? Just wait right there, because I got something for you. We're going to talk about 1-drops. We're going to talk about cheap spells because they are extremely important in a deck where you want to cast spells and deal non-combat damage. Let's talk about that spell slinging. You guys can see I have a lot of cheap spells in this deck. We got Chain Lightning, 1 mana. We have Firebolt, 1 mana. We have Reckless Charge, 1 mana. Stream of Thought, 1 mana. Faithless Looting, 1 mana. Duress, and these are sorceries. Let's look at some of the instants. We got Hexglow Slash, we got Fire Magic, we got Thunder Magic. We have so many 1 mana cards. It is amazing. And you might be telling yourself, well, these cards aren't really that great. And let's remember, this is about brewing on a budget. We are on a budget, and we're not spending $20 on instants and sorceries, and we don't need to. Because what do we want to do? We want to spell sling, which just means we want to cast instants and sorceries and non-creature spells to deal that non-combat damage. And having 1 mana drops is extremely important. And I'm going to be honest with you, all these 1 mana drops, they may not be that great, but they get the job done. Hexglow Slash, 2 damage to something. Strict Serenade, counter target artifact or creature or planeswalker spell. Fire Magic, 1 mana, 1 damage to each creature. Sort of a small board wipe if someone's running small tokens or something like that. Duress, target opponent reveals their hand, get a non-target, non-creature, non-land card from it, and they have to discard it. Bye, in your graveyard. Guess what? I just removed something from your hand that you may wanted to play last turn, and guess what? Everybody take 5, 2, 3, whatever damage, and it's everybody, right? That's what we want. We want to get our cheap cards and boom, 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 boom. So because of that, we have to have a pretty decent amount of those in the deck. And as you can see, there is a fair amount of cards that is in this deck that will achieve that. Now, there are other great cards, non-creature cards, instants and sorceries that are in this deck that are great, but there is one in particular that I would love to talk about, and that is Cryptic Gateway. This card is so much on theme and such an inspiration for this deck. When I was building this deck, I wanted to brew on a budget. I wanted to do something where I'm not spending more than $100, but I can do a new mechanic, which for me is non-combat damage. I'm so used to tapping creatures and attacking to get combat damage done, but then I realized, thank you Final Fantasy, there's a lot of ways to deal non-combat damage, and it's about getting non-creature spells out and having creatures to deal that non-combat damage. Love to tell you a story. I was at the shop. I'm always searching through the dollar bin because I love the dollar bin. It's great value there. And I found this card, shiny, old looking. I love old looking cards in Magic. I think it's cool. And this card is amazing for tribal decks, especially when you're building a tribal wizard spell slinging deck. Cryptic Gateways, 5 colorless mana. It's an artifact. You tap 2 untapped creatures you control, and you may put a creature card that shares a type with that creature on the battlefield. You guys already should know where this is going. You copy cards with the Inalla. They come in, they have haste. Guess what? Cryptic Gateway, I tap 2 of those tokens, and now what? I get to pit, oops. Niv Mizzet Visionary, no mana spent to cast them. Oops, my Mercurial Chemister, my card draw coming in. Oops, Kefka, Dashing Mad, Indestructible. You guys exile your cards, lose life to your mana value. Cryptic Gateway is so underrated, and it's so on theme with this deck because it is literally 99 cents on Card Kingdom or 79 cents in foil, which is why I pay for $1 for it in the shop. And you get big creatures and creatures that share types with your tribal deck on the battlefield. This is so on theme what we're talking about, right? Like, we want to look for these type of cards. We want to find cards that work well for us, but don't break the budget. And while Cryptic Gateway may not fit in a lot of decks in the 99, as they call it, it works for us and it gets the job done and it achieves what we want. And that is the ultimate goal, is achieving what we want when we build these commander decks. So sorry, just wanted to share that quick story with you and talk about the theme of this deck in terms of Cryptic Gateway. But you can see where we're going and you can understand how we're doing things. Let's talk about game plan. Ultimately, guys, we want to use our beautiful mana base here of 33 lands. We want to get our creatures out. We want to cast our creatures with Inalla. We want to double down on our enter the battlefield triggers. We want to get more wizards that deal non-combat damage. We want to stack up on these 0/1 wizards with our spells that give us so many of them. But we still have to have a backup plan. So you still have to have creatures that do things that are great. You struggle in the realm. He's not doing non-combat damage. But guess what? I get instants and sorceries and creature cards from other people, and I could cast them without paying their mana cost. Kefka, same thing. I'm not copying him. He's a wizard. It's great going in my tribal deck. It's indestructible during my turn. And though he's not doing non-combat damage, he is taking life from people based on the cards that I'm casting that I steal from them. So you have to have a game plan outside of what you want to do. But you can also flood your deck with so much of what you want to do that you will always have an opportunity to do it. And I want to talk about that and talk about, before we end off here, this idea in Magic the Gathering community of people thinking you need to spend all this money on these decks. And I just would love to give you guys an example really quick. Counterspell is an amazing card. People love Counterspell. It is probably the top counterspell outside of something maybe like Tibalt's Trickery. But people love it. It's 2 blue. You get it out, it counters any spell, creature, artifact, enchantment, everything. Get it out of here. Even another instant or sorcery. No, you can't do that. You can't kill my creature. Actually, thanks. That is great. And though Counterspell is not that expensive, it is one of the more higher and expensive like counter spells because it achieves counterspelling the best way out of all the other counterspell cards. And I just love comparing counterspell to things like cancel, which cancel is the same thing, but for 1 more extra mana. And for me, It's not about just having one counterspell in this deck. It's not about having the best counterspell in this deck. It's about having so many counterspells and doing so much non-combat damage and controlling the board as much as I can with my 19 and 20 instants and sorceries to be able to dictate the game how I want. Another great comparison is Rewind. I hear so many people talk about Rewind. Rewind, just like cancel and just like counterspell, counters a spell, but people go, oh, it's 4, 2 blue and 2 colorless. Excuse me. We're playing commander. I'll top 2 blue, which I would have had to do anyway if I wanted to counterspell, and then I'll top my Soul Ring, so I don't have as much mana. But guess what? I can untap my lands after that. So actually, you may not even want to tap your Soul Ring. Maybe just pay the 4 mana with your lands, and then you get 4 more mana to, guess what? Maybe I counterspell the next spell, or maybe I hex gold slash something, maybe I deadly dispute something. Like, that is okay. That is completely fine. And you can do that. And it's not all about having the best card of that type. Sometimes it's about building your deck out to achieve what you want. So before I leave you guys here, I just wanted to say that the link for this deck will be posted in the description of this video. I encourage you guys to check it out. As you can see, it is 97 bucks. I love it. It is great. I've played with it. I've won with this deck, doing a lot of non-combat damage. People get very irritable. I will show you guys the mana curve. It is great. Have a lot of spells, as you guys saw, for 1 mana, 2 mana, and we're very likely to get those cards turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. And our mana base is definitely built out fairly well. Less of the black, but that's okay. Got a lot of red, a lot of blue. Like I said, we want to control, deal a lot of damage, and that is the theme of this deck. So I urge you guys, I urge every single one of you, when you build your next commander deck, go to your shop, go through the dollar bins, go on ManaBox, go on TCG Player, go on Card Kingdom, go on Architect, go on EDH Rec, go on Moxfield, go on whatever you need, and find cards that work for you. You do not need to spend $10, $50, or even sometimes $5 to achieve that for a card. Sometimes trying to optimize your deck without breaking the budget is what we have to do, because not all of us have the ability to spend that money on cardboard. And though we love this game, we still have to live our lives and pay our bills. So with that being said, I encourage you guys, show me your decks. Show me what you guys are brewing up. I would love to see any of your decks that are under 100 bucks, under 200 bucks. Show me anything good. I would love to see them. Like, subscribe, drop recommendations of what you guys think. If there's anything you think I should add to this deck, let me know. I'll be more than willing to help. There's a lot of cards that we didn't go over, but that is okay. You guys get the theme. Please, 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 please make sure you guys are tuning into the channel and that you guys are coming back, because there's more content coming your way. And we're going to be doing more things than just brewing budget decks, or brewing on a budget, as we like to call it. Yeah, you got it. And we will be bringing more stuff to you. So keep on top. Keep a lookout for that. And we will see you later. Peace.